Yeah, hello there and welcome back, and let us continue with our lesson over here. And the next step, let's try to create a button navigation in our Flutter as well as with the SwiftUI and the Jetpack compose. So let us get started over here. First, let us go to our screen and let's create a new file over here. And let's call this one as something like a button nav screen screen and the file. So let's create a class, let's create a state full widget over here, and let's give a name of the button nav screen over here, and let's import this material package over here, and let's add the const keyword over here. And once we have this, let's go and add here our scaffold over here first of all, and let's add the app bar, and let's add the app bar over here, and then we will have a body over here. And for the body, what we have to do over here is let's go and create a final variable of the, let me arrange it properly, final of the body, body, which is of equals to a list over here. And in this list we need to add a list of the screen that we would like to show over there. And I guess we can get some, let's say, grid view, and we have a login, and then let's add some of this. So first of all, let's add the grid view screen that we have, and let's add another one as a login screen that we have. Let's just try to add some of this screen, right? And we have a list view, a list list view screen, I guess. So let's add the 3 over here. And what I can do is let's remove this warning over here, and let's just add the const keyword over here. Once we have this const, that the warning should go away. And next is that what we need is, let's go over here, and in the body let's go and add our, let's go and first of all create one more variable over here. I'll just create a int of the type is of the index, and that's it's of equals to, by default, let's say of a 0. So currently we have created a 2 variable, one is of the index, one is of a body. This is a list of the body that we, list of the screen that we want to show over our navigation. And the next is on the body. Let's go and add our body over here, and we need to pass in the index over here, index index. Why is the error? So we got that index index. Okay. And the next is what we have to add here is the button navigation bar. And with the button navigation bar, let's add the button button navigation bar over here, and it takes the item over here, and the item is the list. So let's add the list over here, and let's arrange it properly from here. So the next thing that we can add over here is the current index, and then on tab. So let us implement that one first of all, and I'll implement the current index will be of the index that we have. And on tab, what we want to do is let's go and set the state. So here we want to update the value for index, that will be of the index each of equals to the value that we are getting over here. So just update that particular value over here, and you should be good to go over here. Once we have that in the item, what we can do is we can set the button navigation item that we have, and with this we can set the icon and also the label. So icon and the label. So you can see icon, we need to pass in the widget. So here I will say that this is of the type of the ICO and icon, and with this icon I can just say icons icon star. Let's say this is of the home, not the homework. It should be of a home, right? home home. And then in the label it's of the string, so we'll just pass in the home over here. Let's make this one as a const. And once we have this, let's copy this one. Currently we have a 3 item over here, right? So let's copy this one to the 3. So we need a 3 item over here. So one each of, let's say for this one is a home, and this is for the login, and this is for the list. So here we'll just say a login. So it's not a good to have a login in that particular navigation, but let's just add in over here. So if I can find a login, okay. And then we have this as the what was that, we have a list. So let's say we have something like a list over here, and if I get some icon about the list, that would be great. So we had that particular setup over here, and let's try to run our application. And so let's, okay, so before running I need to go to my screen over here, and let's change this one to the bottom nav screen that we just created. And now we can just go and run our application, and let's wait for it. And once you run it, you can see we got different the bottom navigation, so it's working perfectly fine. Only thing is that we have one double the app bar. That's perfectly fine, so we are not worried about it. So we are just worried about this bottom navigation that we have, and it's working perfectly fine. So the next step will be to create our bottom navigation in the SwiftUI. So let us open our SwiftUI project over here. And in our SwiftUI project over here, let's go and add a new file over here, and let's create a SwiftUI view, and let's click on next. And here let's add the bottom nav view, and I guess that should be fine. Just create a new view over here, and with this new view what we will do is let's try to reload this one. And over here in the text, we can remove this particular text from here because we are not going to use that one. And let's add the tab view over here. And with this tab view, what I can do is I can just go and add all of my tabs over here. So I will add the list view first of all. So I will add my list view over here. And with this list view, what I can do is I can just go and add the tab item over here. And with the tab item, let's remove the constructor from here, and let's have the expression of the first thing is that we'll add an image over here. And with this image I can add a system name and load the icon over here, and the icon will be of the house. So this should load the house icon. And then I will also add a text over here, and that will call it as a home over here. So once we have this item, I guess we got an error, so it's need to be in the double code. So it should be of house, and this one should be of the home. Okay, and the next we will load our we loaded a list, and let's load a grid. So grid view, what image grid view, right? So that was our image grid view. So let's load our image grid view that we have, and then I can just say tab tab item that we have, and let's remove this constructor and put the expression over here, and I'll just say the image and then the system name. So this will be of something like, let's keep something random over here, and let's call this a person. And then we have a person icon, and then here we'll just say a text over here, right? And this text, let's call this one as image or something, a person or an image. And finally let's add, we already have a 2, so if I can click, you can see that we already have a 2 So let's try to add a one more over here, and that will be of something like a card view, or yeah, let's add a card view over here, card view that we have created previously, right? And I'll just copy this one from there and just paste it below over here. And the tab, instead of the person, let's add something like a bell over here that will give us a bell icon. And this one, let's call this one as a card over here. And now you can see we have a button navigation over here, and then you can navigate it, right? So that's perfectly fine. So this is a simple way of creating our button navigation with the tab view in the SwiftUI. And let's move on to our Jetpack Compose. And in our Jetpack Compose over here, let's go and create a new file over here, and let's add the Kotlin file over here, and let's call this one as app button app button navigation. And let's create what we need first of all is I will create a sealed class over here. And don't worry about all of this if you are not familiar with the sealed class and all of this stuff. We are not going to do something complex over here. It's something like we are going to create something like a data class over here, and I'll just call this one as button button navigation item or something. So with this we'll take some parameter as a constructor over here. So I'll just eval the route that we want to take over here, and that will be of a type of the string. And next I'll take a val the label label, and that will be also of the type of the string that we need. And finally I'll need a val of the icon for particularly the button navigation icon icon, and that will be type of the image vector. So once we have this constructor parameter, let's go and create a class, and with this class let's have the object. So I can create an object over here, ob object over here. With this object I'll give a first one as a home, and that will extend from the button navigation item that we have over here. And once I add that, I need to add all of those stuff. So let's say the first one each of the home that we have, right? The route each of the let's say the home, and let's give a label will be of the home. And then finally we need a icon over here. So icon icons dot, I can use the default one, and I guess I have a home icon, so I'll get that one. So we have a sealed class, and inside this class we have an object of the home that is extending from this particular class, right? And that is the beauty of the sealed class. So when we have we can only extend that class inside that particular class only. From the outside we cannot extend this particular sealed class. So we have a home and object. We will have another one, let's say something like grid grid. We will have a grid, and this one, let's say call this one as a grid grid, and let's say name as a grid, the label, right? So this will be our route, and this will be of a label, and the home icon, let's say so shopping cart or something. And then we'll have another one which is of, let's say, a card that we have. We will load the card screen over here, and this one, let's give a name as a card itself, and let's change this one to the card. And this one should be of the grid, not the home, so grid. And here let's change the name to something, a person or something. So we have that object created, a sealed class of button navigation, and we have the item created already. So next is we need to go and create our navigation graph. Let's create a function below this one, and let's call this one add a composable function. And let's create a function of button bar, let's say graph, button bar graph. And the name can be anything, right? Just give one valid name over here, and we'll take a parameter of the nav controller over here. That will be of our nav host controller. So we have already created this one previously before. If you remember the nav host controller, we need it for our navigation. So here I will just go and have a nav nav host over here. So we can have a nav host over here, and with this nav controller, I need to give my nav controller that I'm getting over here, and let's arrange this one properly. So nav host controller and the graph. We don't need a graph over here. What I need instead is the starting. So if you remember previously also we did starting destination. That will be from our bottom navigation item dot the we have home dot the route, right? So we will use that one, and then we can just go and add the lambda expression over here, and here we can create our compo composable. So compo not the double compo posi composable. Composable, I can't find it. Composable, compos not the sab composable. So here we need to take the route over here. All right, so route will be from our this particular route. So we have created this route already over here, so we can hard code, or you can just give it from here. So this will be our bottom navigation dot the we have the home, and then we will give the route that we have, and then with this we will load our item over here, which home you want to load. So I will load a home screen. We already have that composable that we previously created, right? And let me arrange this one properly. So once we have that, let's just copy this section, and we need 3 more for our route. So that will be of this will be of a grid, and then we have one more that is of the card, right? So we have that, and here we just have to change our the view that we want to load. That will be of I guess it was not the grid, I guess image grid or something. I guess it was an image grid, and then we have one more that is of the card list view. I think card list view. So this is the one. So we got that, and we have a navigation the navigation graph set up already with the 3 route over here. So one is of the home and grid and the card. So then the next step would be to have our the view that we want to load. So here are so many steps involved in the composable, right? So Jetpack compose. So I'll add a composable function again over here, and let's create a function. Let's call this one as my app or something. Do we already have my app composable? I guess we don't have it. Okay, so we can create that one. So here we'll take a final nav controller. Sorry, not the final, I get confused with val. We need a nav controller over here. That will be of a nav controller, nav controller, a controller that will be of equals with rem. Remember, so we need to remember the nav host controller. Remember nav controller, and we don't need this one. Remember nav control. This basically will help us to remember the state of the navigation. So when we navigate from one tab to another tab, so that will help us to remember it. And the next is I will have to load the scaffold. You already know how we can create a scaffold. We have previously already created this scaffold over here, and with this scaffold we can just add the our bottom bar, right? If you can remember this one. So once we have this bottom bar, here we have to create a lambda expression, and with this lambda expression, and here we have some errors, so I need to load a column or something over here. And with this column, I guess we have that in the app navigation somewhere here. So here we have that. So let's just copy this one from here, and let's just paste that one over here. We need that particularly the just paste it over here. So all of those we need to pass in, and that error will go away. And once we have this inside this, we can load your okay, so here is the one. Okay, so here what we'll create is our load our bottom navigation graph. So finally it's time to load our bottom navigation graph over here. Make sure you pass it inside over here, and we'll pass in our nav controller to that one. So navos controller we'll pass in over here. And then we finally have to create our bottom nav bar. We still haven't created our bottom nav bar over here. And for that what we have to do is let's go on to the top over here, and we need to create another function, or let's create it below over here. A lot of the work over here, if you can see, add a composable composable, and with this composable let's have a function something, let's call this one as bottom bottom bar, or bottom and nav bar or something. And here we will take our nav controller that will be of the nav host controller itself. And here actually we can do the same thing here, but it takes a lot of the space. That's why I try to separate it to a different function to make it more clean, and so you can understand it clearly. Well, I will have items over here, not the image. So items items, which is of equals to the, let's create a list of, and for this list of with this list of, let's add the our item over here. So we need to load our page over here, and that page will be of the bottom navigation item that we have dot the home bottom navigation item dot we have the home, right? And next let's duplicate this one. So no, it cannot be here. So Control and D, yeah. So let's have this one more. Okay, there is an extra character over here, and this will be of the grid, right? And this will be of the list, or not the list, it's of the card. So we have the list of the item over here, and once we have the item, another thing I need to get is the val and the back, or the I'll just say nav bsck. So we need to get the backstack of that particular by, and I use the nav controller that we have, not the nav controller that we get, and then I can get the current backstack. So current back is stack entry as the state. So this will get the backstack entry as with the mutable state. So we need to get that state over here. And once we have this, I guess we got some error over here. Import this one. Okay, so we need to import that particular package, and once we have that, let's go and create the current we have a current destination, which we need to get it from the nav backstack dot the it is of nullable, so I need to check the destination dot navstack dot the destination. Okay, so this will give us the current destination. And once we have that the destination, what we need to do is we can create our navigation over here. So finally I can load bottom bottom navigation, not your bottom. We need to load a bottom navigation over here. And with this bottom navigation, what we will do is we will look through our items that we have. We have items, and dot the for each over here, I guess item dot for each over here. So just use the lambda over here. And once we have that, let's have this one as item item. And once we have this item, what we can do is we can go and add our bottom navigation item, right? So what I can do over here is bottom bottom navigation item, bottom navigation item. So I guess our this so we have created the same name over here, bottom navigation item over here. So that will conflict, I guess, so if you use this wrongly. So bottom navigation item, so make sure you select the correct one, otherwise you may run into a problem, because we also have the same class over there, but actually that is a seal class. So here let's try to add some of the information. And first thing that we can add over here is the label that we can set for this one. So label is lambda, so we can pass in the lambda and set the text over here, and not the text button, so text, right? So let's add the text over here, and then the text will be of the item that we have, that I can have a label over here. So next, once we have the label, we can add the icon over here too. This is also, we need to pass in the lambda over here, and then we can get that particular icon, not the icon icons icon, and let's add this icon. Let's import this one, so icon, and this will be of image vector. We need to load the image vector. Image vector is from our item, and item dot the icon that we have, and this is the content description, so we just can give the same description for our content description. That is the purpose of the accessibility, right? And then once we have the icon, and in the selected, we can just say that the current destination that we have, dot, I can just say I guess I have the hierarchy over here, current destination, that the hierarchy dot all. We need to just loop through it, and if the it dot the route that we get from the hierarchy, each equals to the item that we have dot the route. So if it matches the current item route, then we'll say this is of the true. So right, so we can just each equals to true, which means that it is a selected one. And then once we have that, another one what we can do is selected on click. On click is, let's go and remove this one from here. Okay, let's go and remove, and let's try to erase this one, so later you don't get confused. So currently, I guess maybe we can just remove for now this one. I think we don't need that. So here in the on click, even what I can do is the nav controller that we have, nav controller dot the navigate. I can navigate to item dot the route, item dot the route from here. So we can navigate, and here we can also set the others, like we just want to have a single top or something, so you can just add some of the information over here. And let's just try to load it a simple way, and let's not load it in the complex way. So I guess that should be fine, and let's try to load our bottom bar to our bottom navigation over here. And here we just need to pass in the nav controller that we have, and from here let's copy this my app, and let's go to the main activity, and let's load it over here. And I guess we can run our application now, and it's already a lot of time that we covered creating this bottom navigation for our Jetpack Compose. And now here you can see we have a bottom navigation, and when we click on it, we can actually navigate. It's not the perfect one, but still it's workable. And that's all for this lesson, and we learned about creating a bottom navigation in the Jetpack Compose. It's quite lengthy over here, and then we did it on the our SwiftUI, and then we also created on the Flutter itself. So that's all for this lesson, and let's meet up in the next one. Till then, have a great day.